Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking retinyl palmitate, an ingredient that's been around in skincare for years, but one that's getting a lot of increased attention and focus, courtesy of the A313 cream, which has taken off and become a viral sensation over on TikTok. This cream has retinyl palmitate as one of its key ingredients. A lot of people praise it for being a super effective, yet really gentle alternative to traditional retinoids, such as retinol or retinol. How true is this? Well, I personally don't reach for retinyl palmitate for my own skincare routine, and there's a couple of reasons why. So, sit back, relax, let's talk all things retinyl palmitate. Now, before we get into this video, I would love to know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on anything mentioned in today's video. So sound off in the comments section below, and let's get that conversation going. Whatever your thoughts and feelings towards retinyl palmitate, hopefully you want to reach down and give this video a big thumbs up and a like. It's a great way of just getting that message heard loud and clear, because the more likes a video gets, the more widely YouTube distributes it on its platform. So from the bottom of my heart, thanks to each and every one of you that just takes that small moment out of your day to like the content I create here on the channel. Now, I've got a lot to say as usual, so should we just cut that waffle and delve straight on in? Now, let's start with what is retinyl palmitate. Well, it's a derivative of vitamin A. Vitamin A has been used in skincare for decades as a great way of boosting the anti-aging potential of your skincare routine. Vitamin A derivatives will over time boost collagen and elastin production, they'll smooth out fine lines and wrinkles, they increase cellular turnover, they can be powerful antioxidants, all benefits and qualities that you really look for in your skincare routine. However, they're not all created equally. You've got high-strength prescription retinoids such as tretinoin, adapalene. You've got other mid-strength ones that are available over the counter, such as retinols or retinols. You've also got other things such as retinol esters and retinol palmitates that tend to be on the more gentle end of the spectrum, but some people question just how effective they actually are. Now, retinyl palmitate has found its way into a whole suite of our cosmetic products. It's found in serums, moisturizers, cleansers, sunscreens, it's even in body washes and some shampoos. Brands love it because it's well tolerated by all skin types, it's super easy to formulate with because it gets on well with just about all other active ingredients, and it's super cheap. You can use retinyl palmitate in products, which then allows you to say contains retinol, which you know will increase sales due to the popularity of this ingredient, without actually having to spend a whole lot of additional time formulating it to work well alongside other ingredients, or worrying about who it will and won't work for in terms of skin types. I know this is a little bit lazy of an approach from brands, but it's something we do see increasingly in the skincare world at the moment. Now, there's a lot of claims and counterclaims when it comes to retinyl palmitate, so should we debunk all of that in this section of the video? With its increased popularity has come a lot of increased scrutiny on just how safe it is to use as an ingredient. A lot of people call out the fact that retinyl palmitate could be increasing the risk of skin cancers. I did a lot of research into this because I don't just want to take things on face value. I want to read the studies and look at what they're actually saying and how robust they are. While I don't think there is concrete proof and evidence of a cause and a link between the use of retinyl palmitate and an increase in skin cancers, there are a couple of things that I want to call out. I think what kick-started all of this off was the Environmental Working Group releasing a report where they claimed that retinyl palmitate was a toxic and harmful ingredient that they wouldn't recommend for use in cosmetics. They cited certain studies that showed that in lab mice, the use of retinyl palmitate and exposure to UVA radiation did cause some changes which could increase the risk of skin cancers and also the rate at which skin cancer lesions grow. I know this causes a lot of alarm, so a lot of the media just ran with this study, and this definitely impacted the popularity of retinyl palmitate. This then caught the attention of certain politicians. I think it was Chuck Schumer who called out a couple of years ago a study which showed that retinyl palmitate, if used alongside UVA exposure, could increase the growth rate of certain skin cancer lesions. And he's really pioneering and championing the reduction of its use in cosmetic products. I think a lot of people got very, very worried about these studies, and rightly so. You know, we all should be informed about what we're using in terms of our skincare products, the ingredients, and how they interact with our body. But of course, this is just one portion cherry-picked to serve that purpose, and actually there's a lot of other studies that show that if used correctly, retinyl palmitate is absolutely safe to use in skincare. I then took a look at how governments and agencies have responded to these data, these findings, and what their thoughts seem to be on it. Well, I think there's definitely been a shift away from the use of retinyl palmitate in products. If you take sunscreens, for example, at one point around 50% of sunscreens contained retinyl palmitate as an ingredient. That's because some studies did show it boosts how effective the UV filters are when it comes to combating UVB radiation. radiation. The challenges and potential risks around cancer come from the UVA rays interacting with that retinol palmitate, not the UVB. So a lot of sunscreen brands used it as a way to boost the efficacy of their sun filters. However, now less than 10% of sunscreens contain retinol palmitate as a key ingredient. So I think that definitely shows a shift in terms of the mentality of brands and how they're working with this ingredient. Some of that has been led by the consumers being a little bit more aware to some of the risks and saying we don't really want this ingredient in our skincare, and that's obviously reflected with the brand's decisions of what they formulate with. Also, in terms of legislation, whilst most governments and government agencies do declare that the use of retinol palmitate is perfectly safe in cosmetics and skincare, there have been some tightening of the restrictions and regulations around it. Take, for example, Canada, which recently announced that all sunscreens that contain retinol palmitate have to come with a warning on the bottle as standard. You've also seen in the European Union a restriction on the percentage concentration of retinol palmitate that you're actually allowed to use in over-the-counter cosmetics and skincare. Whilst most agencies have said it's absolutely fine and safe to use as an ingredient, I think the tightening of these regulations, restrictions and warnings kind of show the direction of travel when it comes to retinol palmitate. So hopefully that kind of covers off some of the risks, the concerns that people have around the safety of retinol palmitate. I don't think there is any conclusive evidence of a link between retinol palmitate and increases in rates of skin cancer or the growth rate of those cancer lesions themselves. And I think this is played out by, government and regulatory bodies' reaction to this data to say they're taking a cautious approach. Whilst we might restrict or put warnings on, it's not enough evidence to actually just ban this ingredient outright. However, how effective is retinol palmitate? I think a lot of people overlook some of those risks to say, actually, it's a really effective anti-aging ingredient that doesn't come with the side effects of other retinoids. Well, it's actually the weakest of all the retinoids that are commercially available. Whichever vitamin A derivative you choose, it has to go through conversions in metabolic pathways to transfer into retinoic acid, which is what the skin uses for all that fantastic anti-aging benefits, such as boosting collagen, increasing cellular turnover. The more conversions and metabolic pathways the product has to go through, the less efficacious it ends up being. That's because some of its effectiveness is lost in each one of those conversions. Retinol palmitate has to go through a whole lot of conversions to get to that retinoic acid where it can actually deliver some benefit, which is why a lot of dermatologists actually refer to it as topically ineffective, which means if it's applied topically to the skin, it's probably not giving you a whole lot of value. And this for me is the main reason that I don't personally reach for retinol palmitate. If you have super sensitivity prone skin, so much so that you just can't reach for retinoids, they just don't work with your individual level of skin sensitivity. So you reach for retinol palmitate, which lots of people say even the most sensitive can tolerate. I would say actually, because a lot of people are calling it topically ineffective, why not just switch to other ingredients that deliver the same great benefits as retinoids, but without that associated risk of sensitivity? Take, for example, resveratrol, one of my favourite antioxidants. Clinical studies have shown that it can boost the levels of collagen production in the skin. It's also a powerful and potent antioxidant. It can even out the skin tone and fight against hyperpigmentation, so a lot of the things that retinol claims to do, you can get from resveratrol. Okay, it's not going to be as effective as, say, a prescription or high-strength over-the-counter retinoid, but it's certainly going to deliver benefits far in excess of retinol palmitate, and it's generally well tolerated by most skin types. This is where I think there's just a lack of gap or niche in the market that retinol palmitate actually fits. I think there's concerns around how safe it is to use, and if you do use it, concerns about how effective it's actually going to be in terms of anti-aging. So, to conclude, the reasons I decided to move away from retinol palmitate as a key ingredient in my skincare routine are twofold. First and foremost, whilst I don't think there is a proven scientific link between that retinol palmitate and an increased rate of skin cancers, there's enough data points and evidence to make me a little bit wary about reaching for it. This is then compounded by the fact I just don't think it's that effective when topically applied to the skin. When you can get the same great outcomes from other options such as resveratrol, you can reach for vitamin C derivatives, all of which don't come with that potential health warning alongside it and come with better outcomes, why would we reach for retinol palmitate? This is kind of the conclusion that I drew, and I think when you read up a lot of the studies led by formulators and dermatologists, they kind of reach the same. They're not necessarily sold on the health risks of retinol palmitate, but they're definitely not sold on the skin benefits, and so they recommend other alternatives, which is something that ultimately I decided for my own skincare routine. The use of retinol palmitate is definitely increasing, and now you tend to just find it in very gentle anti-aging formulations and in eye creams, where where a lot of brands will say you'll get the anti-aging benefit without the irritation of the delicate eye area. If you're in any doubts at all, check the ingredients list. It'll be there as retinol palmitate, so you can know whether you are using or you're not using this ingredient in your skincare routine. If it's contained within one of your favourite products, you don't necessarily have to toss it out. I would just say, question how effective that product is in terms of delivering the outcomes you want. And if that's the case, then use it in the evening routine. A lot of the health warnings around retinol palmitate are linked to its exposure to UVA radiation. So use it at night when the curtains are drawn, when you're in bed asleep, so you minimize the risk of any of that occurring. Hopefully this just helps you make the right decisions when it comes to your own skincare routine and shares with you my thoughts, feelings and opinions. This is just part of the story, and I've linked some other content creators, dermatologists and scientific studies that talk about retinol palmitate, so if you haven't had your fix quite yet, they're all there for you in the description box below. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well and love your skin. Take care. Bye.